Interior, IQ's lair. IQ and KCD are talking. As I'm sure you probably know, we have one hell of a problem. What do you mean? I mean Zik Che. Zik Che? He's way out in the Phantasm Zone. Well, it doesn't look that way from my angle, and it looks like you've been ignoring it. Now, wait a minute. What makes you say that Zik Che has returned to Earth? Supreme Man hasn't left Earth in 2 years. He used to check on Zik Che at least once a month. The Phantasm Zone is an impenetrable fortress, floating aimlessly through space, housing all the worst beings in the universe. No one has ever escaped the Phantasm Zone. Maybe not, but every kid with a Supreme Man action figure does understand how to escape the place. Yes, one must recover the Sword of Baruch and use it to separate the crystals to create a portal to the most populated planet in whichever galaxy is nearest to it. Have you noticed the slashing attacks on capes these days? There have been over 50 cases of metahumans slaughtered in Europe alone. I know no such things. January 22nd of this year, 6 masks go into a burning building. None of them return alive. One of these masks is Mr. Inferno. How does a fucking man made of fire die in a fire? He had several slice wounds on him. The official cause of death was while he was in the burning building, he turned back into his human form, just long enough to fall through the floor and through a glass table. Doesn't make sense to me. That's not really much to go on. March 3rd of this year, young Icarus is seen falling from the sky. He lands in the ocean and his body is never found. But there was a nearby cruise ship. Lots of people taking video of the event. If you sit through them all, you can see that he was slashed and stabbed many times, even though his armor was supposed to be indestructible. My dog's toys are allegedly indestructible too. Plus, we have no idea what material Icarus' suit was made of. His wings were found, and they sold on eBay for a couple $100,000. Alright, let's take a minute and pretend that Zik Che is on Earth. Why hasn't he already gone after some notable world leaders? What makes you think he hasn't? I think I'd notice if some world leaders were assassinated. Have you noticed that more than 50 European and 75 American politicians have gone missing? No speeches, no talks from Senators Beasley, Smith, Keller, or Trask in a few months. Do you notice that? The government has been using doubles to hide the fact that they're missing, and everyone has been buying it. Those 4 guys, they were all alone in one vehicle. They were going to go to one of the state parks in Colorado and go camping and fishing and hunting and all that for the week. Gave a bunch of interviews saying that they were going to reconnect with the parks and that Americans should do the same. No interviews when they got back. No picture of any of them with a single fish or even a frickin' single squirrel stew. My guess is that they never made it to their campsite or possibly never returned from it. There's still no hard proof. There needs to be proof. There must always be proof. Well, if you need proof about a guy like Zik Che, I believe an I told you so will be coming my way any time now. Let's say I believe you. Let's say that Zik Che is knocking out politicians and masks alike. Where is he? And why is he doing it? These politicians that are dying, they're all the ones that support vigilantism. Killing off capes is just a puzzle piece to the end game. And the end game is? You're being serious right now. To destroy Supreme Man and take over the world. And Draco. I don't know if you know this, but Draco was the one who sent him to the Phantasm Zone. And technically, the fight started because Draco killed Zik Che's nephew. Of course, the freaking Boy Scout had to get involved. Draco killed someone? But the Justice Legion doesn't kill people. Right, the Justice Legion doesn't kill, except for when they very obviously do. Maybe Fruit Bat doesn't shoot a gun. How many of them end up in intensive care? Guess how many of Fruit Bat's assailants have punctured lungs from broken ribs? How many of the people crushed under cars that Supreme Man throws at enemies, but the enemy dodges it? How about all the apartment buildings that he crashes through? So go on, take a stab at it. Yeah, I get it. They're not that innocent. IQ's phone rings. Yeah. Hell, no, I can't right now. I'm incredibly busy. Primo. Yeah, that is big. Well, still, it's not like it's a matter of life and death, so I must ask that we discuss this matter tomorrow. IQ hangs up her phone. KCD's phone suddenly goes off. Hello? Fred? Are you serious? Well, yeah, man, I'm there right now. how do you know about this place? Okay, yeah, see you in a few. Fred. Fred Fraser? There's a pounding on the door. Fred and Ray enter. Heyo!
You son of a bitch, you're in town, you don't call?
Hey, IQ. Hey. You wouldn't have answered anyway. Besides, I'm not officially here. Not yet. Trying to stay under the radar for right now.
Whose radar?
Everyone's. Have I got my passport in Europe? Oh, been there. Yeah, well, before I make my presence known, I'm trying to gather up some information.
What kind of information?
I'm afraid we're all screwed, dudes. How do you mean? I mean Zic Che. Zic Che. I don't remember playing there. Did we start a riot there? I swear throwing TVs out windows is good luck for rock stars. Would you rather I put bullets in the TV like Elvis did? Zic Che is from Supreme Man's planet and is equally powerful, except that Zic Che actually has military training, whereas Supreme Man never did. I thought he was all about the American way.
He helps out people in every country and doesn't hold any government titles.
Sorry, my bad. It's come to my attention that Zic Che has escaped the Phantasm Zone and he's started killing again. The Phantasm Zone? Now I know we trashed that place. He's being subtle this time, not as usual, on every channel destroying stuff self.
There's only one way to escape the Phantasm Zone that I know of.
IQ and I were just discussing that. You were seriously discussing biting the heads off live rats? What?
What?
The fuck? Things were different 15 years ago. At that moment, it was the most rock star thing to do. Another story, for another time. But definitely don't forget it. Definitely want to get back to that one at some point. But no, the Sword of Baruch. That's the only way out, to separate the crystals.
The sword. The sword!
Right, the sword. I swear to God, I did see the movie years ago.
Alien sword. Tell me, what else can it slice through?
I would have to guess most anything from Earth, and certainly anything from Supreme Man's homeworld.
Supreme World? Even Warrior Woman?
Most definitely.
What can you tell me about this sword?
Only what you already know. I'm not sure I remember any of the origin stories anymore. Baruch, he left it there, along with himself, sealed within the ice at the tallest mountain of the terrain. The sword was allegedly so sharp and solid that the sword itself punctured through time and space, thus creating the Phantasm Zone. Supposedly, it's the only blade in that prison, and the only way to escape the crystals. If this is true, and Zic Che is here, this could explain what happened to the Red Caster Vega. What happened to Shitesy?
That remains the question. He recently fell from the sky. He was all sliced up, in bad shape. When I got to him, he said the Earth was doomed. That he went poof, into a cloud of dust, no remains at all.
For all we know, it could have been the sword. I have no idea what that fucking sword is capable of. One but Supreme Man does. I mean, he would know if anyone would. We need to reach out to Supreme Man if we want to know anything solid.
Yeah, well, not so fast there, Kangaroo. This is why we're here. We're just dropping in on IQ because we just had an encounter with the mob, particularly Pulp Primo, to be precise. It seems he's made a glove that does things. At first I thought he was kidding, but as I looked closer I could see that he really thought it through.
PowerPoint sequence with the overhead projector sounds.
Steel Fist, born with no powers, yet a brilliant military scientist who invented a type of material that was able to withstand extreme temperatures, both cold and hot, as well as electricity. Steel Fist, otherwise known as Arthur Roberts, named the material after his grandmother and has since been known as Dottie Stitch. This glove makes the base. Redcaster Vega, as you know, was born with powers, and he needed a suit that was as durable as he is. As most wise men do, he heeded IQ's advice and went to a tailor where he was able to get material that could absorb any blow without tearing. Unfortunately for Redcaster Vega, whatever sliced through his clothing also sliced through him. Regardless, the suit still has a reputation for putting up with extreme abuse, including fire, blades, and even scissors. This is the liner to the fingers. The pinky once belonged to the glove of Midas. For those of you who know, Midas had the ability to turn solid objects into gold. In the story, it was a curse, but in reality, our Midas could only stop it with the gloves, as our Midas needed his clothing to repel his powers. The ring finger belonged to an alien species, the Ramakamis. Could make something explosive just by touching it. It's possible that this ability is within the technology of their gloves. Middle finger was once owned by the timekeeper. He had the ability to keep something the same age for all eternity, or to make something get older instantly. He needed to invent a pair of gloves that could absorb his ability and make it into something he could use as a projectile while in distress. He was another who was tragically killed 4 years ago after patrolling the streets for 67 years. If you don't believe me, ask his wife, who is technically 104 years old. This brings us to the pointer finger, once owned by Mr. Inferno. As you know, Mr. Inferno was a man made of fire. His suit had to be fireproof, and he could switch it on and off whenever he snapped his fingers. His death, by the way, is still an open case for those of you who would like to know more. Finally, the thumb, which is empty. Looks like he's not done killing heroes. This infomatic has been brought to you by Jim's Guns, where you can get guns.
Well, that theory puts the kibosh on my theory that Zik Che killed Mr. Inferno, though.
He was saying that different combinations do different things. Looks like he's been at it for a while.
So many people dead. I can't do this anymore. I'm retiring.
I thought you were retired.
Retirement?
She hasn't been the same since she had to put her twin away.
Oh, ouch. Thank you for sharing that with everyone. Hey, everyone needs their time in their fortress, but sometimes you have to accept the fact that there's an imbalance of power, which is where people like us come in. I'm not that kind of player. I'm more like a behind-the-scenes hero, one keeping the flashlight lit when the power goes out. Well, retire if you want, but you have the metahuman gene and the government contract. If you become a recluse, then you won't reach your quotas. You gotta go to Europe if you want to retire, right? Too cold. I was actually thinking the Caribbean. Oh, nice. Anyways, we're getting off topic. I think we need to pay Don Primo a little visit. No, I can't do that. Don't be afraid, we got your back. I'm not worried about Primo. It's his bodyguards. They're really big fans of the band. I'll never get out alive.